Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm here for a new video to bring you the latest AC Milan news and rumors. Now, I decided to make this live stream because there's been lots of reports regarding different names for Montella that he could choose from for his possible summer transfer targets. And in this video, I'm pretty much going to be speaking all about these names, and I want your live opinions on these players because I want to know your comments. I want to know if these guys could fit in Montella's system or not. So make sure to right away, as soon as you hear a name, leave your comments in the comment section, and we will discuss together what you think about these players. Now, before getting started in this list of players, I wanted to mention that there's been reports also mentioning that Montella will either be using a 4-3-3 formation or a 4-2-3-1. Both formations that Montella has been using in the past. Obviously, he's known for his possession tactics, building up the attack from the back, and that is the type of coach that Montella is in terms of tactics. So without further ado, guys, let's start with the list of possible summer transfer targets for Milan and Montella. Before I get started, however, I want to say that there are many names that Montella has encountered already in his coaching career, either at Fiorentina or at Sampdoria. So these are names that could potentially reunite with Montella because they had such good experiences with him, and they were mainly in form with Montella rather than other coaches. So let's get started with the list. The first name that's up is Leonardo Pavoletti. Now, this guy has been rumored to be linked with the club, with Milan, for a very long time now. He plays for Genoa. He's had a great season. He's put up some very good numbers in terms of goals. However, it seems that Milan will only go after him if they manage to sell Pjaca, which they should generate about 25 to 30 million euros for Pjaca if they sell him. And personally, I'm not really bought over the idea that Pavoletti could be Pjaca's replacement. Don't get me wrong, he had a very good Serie A season with some very good numbers, but could he fulfill Pjaca's role to perfection, or at least do better than him in that position? Personally, I'm not quite sure. Maybe he could very well link up with Lapadula, but once again, this is a gamble you have to take if you're the Milan coach at the moment or the Milan board, because Pavoletti had a good season, but how could he compare now in the following season? Was he a one-hit wonder, or will he continue providing such great figures for Milan as well? These are all questions that we have to ask ourselves, not only with Pavoletti, but also with the other players. But personally, I'm not quite sure if Pjaca leaves, Pavoletti could be that replacement, because I would rather prefer a more known name, a guy that has experience in the Serie A like Pavoletti does, but more more securing, more someone that can give you that certainty. That is the exact words I'm trying to find at the moment. So I'm really not quite sure about Pavoletti potentially joining and being Pjaca's replacement. That is my major worry at the moment, because I would rather keep Pjaca, to be honest, but at the same time, it all depends on Milan's intentions and what they want to do with him. They could either sell him or keep him at the club. This is something that we're going to know in the next few weeks, in my opinion, and it's not going to take much longer to see where Pjaca will end up. Moving on down the list, the next name I want to speak about is Roberto Soriano, another name that we've been linked for God knows how long. You might recall last summer we were very close to signing him. There were continuous reports with Sampdoria and the player's agent, but in the end, Soriano never arrived. All that talk was for nothing. And at this very moment, he appears to have a 15 million euro buyout clause. And at the moment, I think it's unlikely that Milan will go after him and pay that clause, even though the Chinese could provide that money to pay for him. but could there be other players that also range in that price tag and are better than Soriano? I'm not quite sure, but I think that Soriano could be a good player for Montella. They've also met each other. Montella knows how he plays because they were together at his time at Sampdoria. So I think that Soriano could be a good player. I don't know about that price tag. That is, once again, my major doubt at the moment. But I think that Soriano, maybe this time, he could definitely come to Milan. And I think he could be a good addition to the team if he does arrive. Also, Marco Pjaca from Dynamo Zagreb. This guy has been another name that we've been talking about in the past few weeks. And in recent days, I've also mentioned reports because they were saying that Pjaca mentioned that he would rather join Milan than Juventus because he would find more playing time at Milan. And it seems that Milan are very pushing towards Pjaca because they're very interested in the player. He had a very good Euro 2016 with Croatia. He's young, he's agile, he's dynamic, he's capable of doing great things on the wing, or he could even play as a trequartista. So I think Pjaca is definitely the ideal signing that Milan could do. Fits all the criteria, definitely benefits the team, and I think Pjaca could be a great addition. Will he arrive? Once again, this is something that will be seen over the next few weeks. But if I had to choose one name from all of these players, Pjaca will definitely be in my top two choices up there. Once again, guys, before continuing down the list, don't forget to comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about these players, what you guys think about all these players being mentioned. Who could fit Montella's module? Once again, he's going to go with either a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. So let me know what you guys think about these guys. So let's move on down the list because there's lots of names to talk about. And we're going to move on to Fiorentina now because there are two players from Fiorentina in which have been rumored in between last night and today. And the first one is Milan Badelj. Now, you can already tell by his first name that he likes Milan, so that's already a good start. But he's another Croatian that has been linked with our club. He's also played with Croatia in the Euro, and he has been impressive. Now, the 27-year-old could be open to a move to Milan now that Montella is the coach. And he plays as a defensive midfielder. That is his position, and I think it could be a very good option for Montella's 4-2-3-1 module if he decides to go with that. Also, his agent mentioned that he's a very hard worker as he works for the team and not only for himself. So, you know, I kind of like those players that work for the shirt, work for the team. Those are my type of players, not those ones that just want to show themselves and all the attention is pointed towards them. I hate those type of players, and I think if Badelj comes, he can maybe bring that work ethic to Milan, but that is something that we're going to have to see. I don't know if he's the best option to go with because I'm going to be speaking about another option as a defensive mid, and I personally think that that is a better one, but Milan Badelj is the Fiorentina man that has been linked with Montella's Milan. Also, another player from Fiorentina is Matias Fernandez. Now, apparently Montella might be interested in him as well. He's a bit older. He's 30 years old. And in terms of numbers, I think he had a pretty disappointing season. He only had 1 goal and 4 assists in about 22 appearances for the Viola. But he's usually known for his passing abilities rather than his scoring. I've seen pass statistics in these years, and he's always had more assists throughout these years than goals. And reports are mentioned that he could play as a trequartista behind the strikers at Milan. Is he the ideal trequartista that I will want at Milan? Once again, I have doubts over this guy. Not quite sure he could get the job done. Once again, he's 30 years old. He's not very old, but it also kind of questions you, how much longer could he be at the club? What is his plan at the club? Just playing there for 2 or 3 years, or having a longer career at the club? In my opinion, I like those players that stay at the club because they know what it is playing at Milan. They know how it works there, even though if in the past few years we haven't seen that. What I'm trying to say is that I rather have players in their 20s where they are determined to remain at Milan and make a difference, sweat for the shirt, and conquer the coaches and also the fans' pride with their talent. So I don't know. Matias Fernandez is an option, but he's definitely not the first guy I will go after. There's also been reports regarding Adem Ljajic. He's played this past season on loan at Inter from Roma. He's 24 years old, so not old at all. He scored 4 goals in all competitions for Inter this season, and I think he could be a good option on the wing for Montella, where the two already know each other from their time at Fiorentina. And let me recall you that during that time he was very much on form with the Viola. So who knows? Maybe if they reunite once again at Milan, they could maybe have that old chemistry going on together, and that Ljajic could work his magic once again. So I think he's still a young player. Maybe this season wasn't the best for him, but if he's shown great numbers in the past when he was younger, I think he has every capability of doing it again. So Adem Ljajic would be an interesting name for me. I know many of you are not too keen about this player from what I read on comments either on Twitter or on Facebook. But personally, I think that Ljajic could refine this form if he comes to Milan and with Montella coaching. Now, the next 2 names are going to be, and they are 2 names that have just been reported by Sky from Di Marzio, and they are Zielinski from Empoli and Fernando from Sampdoria. So let's talk about these 2 players in particular now. First, starting off with Zielinski, he's played with Empoli this past season. He was actually on loan from Udinese, 22 years old, central midfielder, very young, very able and capable to provide great numbers in the Serie A, like we've seen this past season, scoring 10 goals and adding 12 assists. So these are great numbers for a 22-year-old. Obviously, many clubs are interested in him, particular Napoli and Liverpool. These 2 clubs are very interested in him, and they want to sign him at all costs. However, it seems that Milan might once again get into the equation like they did with Lapadula, where there were several clubs interested in signing him, such as Napoli, Sassuolo, and so forth. So it might once again be that Milan could put themselves in between these clubs and at the very end snatch him up. I think Zielinski is a very good player, very solid, as you might say, with these numbers. I think Zielinski is definitely a player that could arrive at Milan. If he does arrive, I'll be very happy because he's definitely a midfielder that we need. We've been lacking in midfielders in terms of qualities. So if he does arrive, I think he could do very good for Milan. Also, I wanted to speak about Fernando, and this was the other defensive midfielder I wanted to speak about besides Badelj, and that is why I was kind of thinking that maybe this option would be better. I saw a few games from him this season at Sampdoria. Always very solid, always on the ball. And I think in terms of defensive midfielders, where maybe Montolivo might play there, who knows? If Fernando and Kučka play together, that would be crazy. I think it will be very hard to break down that defense, even though it might not be the best of defenses. If we see Fernando and Kučka playing together, who knows what these 2 could do? That would be great to see. He's currently being interested from different clubs. There's Shakhtar Donetsk and Spartak Moscow. Apparently, he was very close to start signing to Spartak Moscow, but in the end, it's still not done. There's nothing concrete going on there. So once again, this could be a player in which Milan could snatch him up from another possible transfer where he was set to go to a team, but in the end, Milan could get him like that. So once again, he's a player that has played at Sampdoria. He's played under Montella. Montella knows how he plays, and he could be a player that could arrive at Milan if Milan is actually serious about him. So as you can tell from this list, lots of names that Montella has coached in the past, either at Fiorentina and Sampdoria, names in which he had a good relationship with, that have worked well under him. They had a great form under him. And, it's just not random names coming out from these clubs. I mean, with the exception of one or two players. But, I mean, I wouldn't be too upset with these players coming at Milan. But at the same time, you want some certainties. You want some big names. And most of these players are all players that already play in the Serie A. So they know the league inside out, or at least they had experience in it. So that is an extra point for me when talking about these players. Sometimes you get these foreign players coming into the team, and you're not quite sure if they're going to live up to expectations because they don't know the league very much, or they take a lot of time to adapt to the league. And these players, some of them have shown that they're capable of doing great things in the Serie A, and that is why I would be pretty interested in getting them if it means that these players will provide the certainties for Milan. Sometimes it's not all about the price you pay for the players, but what they could provide for you. And names like Zielinski and Fernando, and maybe even Adem Ljajic, I think these guys could provide some certainties for Milan. Maybe not the best, but I think we could return to Europe with some of these players. Maybe not all of them, but the thing is, if the investments come in, if the money comes, we have to go for more. So at the same time, these are all good potential targets. But at the end of the day, it's like you have the money. It's time to splash it on some certainty, some players that will get you the results, that will bring you back to Europe. Now, out of all these names, I'm personally thinking maybe one or two max will end up signing with Milan. So if I had to pick two players, I will definitely go with Marco Pjaca. This guy, I've seen him with Croatia. He's capable of doing very great things. And if I had to pick another name, I would definitely go with Zielinski as well. Very good, very agile, capable of giving you results and scoring goals, providing assists. This guy is the whole deal for me. He's a whole package. And, even with better players at Milan, this guy could maybe even have better numbers than what he had at Empoli. So we'll see what happens with that. But without further ado, guys, I want to take a look at your comments now and see for the next maybe 5 to 10 minutes what you guys think about these players. And I want to see what you guys really think about these players in general. So we got a few comments. First of all, a comment from Khalid. He's saying, can you list the players again? Yes, I could. If you guys missed the first part of this live stream, I will be listing once again the names. They are Leonardo Pavoletti, Roberto Soriano, Marco Pjaca, Milan Badelj, Matias Fernandez, Adem Ljajic, Zielinski from Empoli, and finally Fernando from Sampdoria. So these are just targets for the moment. I mean, it's not for sure that these are the only targets that will be there for the whole summer. I can guarantee you there's going to be another 15 to 20 names just in July itself, because we all know how these media reports come. Every day there's different interests, different names, but I'm pretty sure either one or two players will come from either Fiorentina or Sampdoria this transfer window, because for the sole reason that Montella had coached these players in these teams and he had a good relationship with them. He knows how they play. And Milan's objective will be to build a team around Montella and what his module is and what type of players he wants. So let's read some more comments from you guys. Nazmi is disagreeing with Soriano. He's saying, why waste money on Soriano when we could add 10 to 15 million more and get Isco? We need some creativity in our midfield so badly. See, I'm not quite sure if Isco would even be open to a move to Milan. That's the thing. A lot of these players, you have to say that they won't be participating in Europe, the players that I mentioned in this video. So it's not like they are coming from clubs in which we'll be getting Champions League action or Europa League action. and it's like such a big miss for them if they join Milan. These are players that want to join a team like Milan for the prestige of the name, that a team that definitely could give them a higher publicity, a higher name in terms of who they're playing for. So these are all names that are not really losing anything if they arrive to Milan. Players like Isco, maybe yes, he's not getting enough playing time where he is, but he still would want to join maybe a team that is in the Champions League or the Europa League. So this is also another scenario and factors that you guys have to look at when choosing names and when looking at these players. Let's see if you guys have any more comments. I think Rakib is agreeing with the fact that either Saponara, Pjaca, Diawara, and Sule, these are names that he's willing to get. A lot of you guys are saying that either Pjaca or Vasquez could be the names that Milan will get, and I could completely see that. Vasquez is once again a name that has been linked with Milan for a lot, and honestly speaking, I have the sensation that Vasquez is going to become the Soriano of last summer. And what I mean by that is that Soriano was so linked to Milan. He was so close to joining them. And then at the end, nothing happened. And Vasquez, there's been the interest for him. There's been talks with Palermo. And maybe in the end, it might be that he won't even arrive. And that is what's worrying me at the moment. I think if Vasquez comes and if Pjaca comes, that would be great for Milan. That would be really, really great. RMVS Gaming is saying Pjaca would be a good replacement if Niang leaves, but I'm not sure it is necessary. I think money should be spent more on the mid and in the defense. I think defense is definitely a department in which Milan need to look at just as well. With Alex and Mexes leaving. In terms of fullbacks, we are set because we have so many names there. Abate, Deschio, Antonelli, Calabria, you name it. We got so many names there. What we need is a very solid partner for Romagnoli because technically speaking, with Alex and Mexes there's not many options available. I mean, yes, Paleta's coming back, but will he be that partner that will partner for the whole season, Romagnoli? I really don't think so. I think a center back needs to be bought at all costs for Milan because, like I said, the fullbacks are pretty much set. We got 4 or 5 in that department. What we need is a center back to accompany Romagnoli. Gliderman is saying the best of these for me are Fernando, Zielinski, Pjaca, and Badelj. All are talented and hardworking players. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of hardworking players in this list. A lot of players that could do well at Milan. Let's not underestimate any of these guys because maybe they're coming from Fiorentina or Sampdoria. They're not those big names that you would hope for. But these are guys that have done well in the Serie A in this past season. And maybe a whole collection of them coming together could be that organization that Milan, in the end, very much need. So, I think we don't need to underestimate some of these players. I think if they arrive, they could do very well at Milan. I'm going to be on for another 5 minutes to answer your questions, guys. So keep them coming in. Diego's asking me about the formations. So as I said before, Montella is either going to go with a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. These are formations that he's been using in the past with the other teams. And I think they're good formations. Once again, Montella is a coach that likes to base his game on possession. And these are formations in which you can very well do that. The 4-2-3-1 adds certainty to the defense because you have 2 defensive midfielders and they could definitely support the center backs or the defense in general. And I think if we have Kuchka and a guy like either Badelj or Fernando there, these are solid names. Once again, not the best, but I think solid enough for Milan nowadays. So we'll see what happens. Gliderman is also asking me about rumors regarding Tonelli. Yeah, there's nothing about that right now. And honestly speaking, I don't think that Tonelli will be arriving at Milan this summer. But definitely we need a center back. That is a definite guarantee that we need for Milan. Once again, creative midfielder, a center back are the money in which we should spend it on, and I believe so as well. Yeah, Glick is another option that I would have really liked at Milan. He's going to Monaco now. And it's unfortunate because Glick is a very solid center back. You know, over the years with Torino, you could just see his presence on set pieces as well. I would have loved a guy like Glick, but unfortunately it's too late. And, you know, people are not going to be waiting for you. Milan had to make this decision with Montella signing Lapadula right away, because already, if you guys just imagine this, we are 2 weeks away from mid-July already. That is just crazy to think. And in about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, Milan will already leave for the North American tour. So it's obvious they have to decide a coach sooner or later. Now they need players. I think in these next 2 to 3 weeks, signings will be made for sure. Because thinking of it, in a week, the preseason will already start for Milan. The trainings will already start. And it's important to integrate the new players as soon as possible in this team. We can't just be there waiting and waiting and waiting to make signings like in August, like we have done in previous seasons. We need these guys as soon as possible. And it's a must. It's a must. We need to see players arrive at Milan so they could integrate in the squad and feel familiar with the other players. I think that has always been the case for not only Milan, but other teams in general. You know, it's always good to have these players come in before rather than later so they can gel together and find maybe not all of it, but a bit of chemistry before the season starts. So, guys, thank you for giving in your suggestions and comments on these players. As I said, lots and lots of transfer targets, but these are only some names. There will be other names for sure coming in July, but I really wanted to do this live stream to get your thoughts, your live thoughts on these names, and there were just so many names to talk about. So I'm glad we got this done. But let me know. You guys can still send in your comments. I will be reading them. I will be replying to you guys. And also, don't forget to subscribe to Rossoneri TV to stay updated with everything going on at AC Milan on a daily basis. So, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later for another video. This has been Gio signing off. And as always, Forza Milan.